Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now these are your full moon general readings for the sign that's in the title below. As ever, bulk introduction, timestamp below, but listen to it just once through. Because I would advise that you listen to three of these. Your sun, obviously, your moon sign, because hey, it's a full moon, and your rising sign, as that's the most important to your story. So watch all three if you've got the time. Now, this is full moon in Virgo, 8 degrees of Virgo. So I'm not going to talk long about the astrology of this full moon, because if you follow the link to the Facebook page to this channel that's in the description below, you'll notice that I've posted a lot of the astrologers' analysis and breakdown and weather forecast videos about this full moon, and they're going to do it better than I do. Also, there's an inbox on that page, so if you want to contact me directly for a personal reading, there's a good way to do it. But this full moon, 8 degrees Virgo, so this moon is ruled by Hariel, the angel Hariel, who represents in astrology long-range vision and purification, which is, I find, a very, very interesting symbol. Because obviously this is all on the backdrop of Saturn square Uranus, the force for tradition and rules and endings, but tradition and rules against the new, the innovative, the chaos elements that Uranus will bring through. So Saturn is ruling this chart like it did on the new moon chart, and I talked about that back in the new moon videos. Now Saturn at 8 degrees Aquarius is now being ruled by Nelchael, who, interestingly, is an angel about eradicating plague and an ardent desire to learn. So it's almost like the Saturn energy is like, yeah, this may be the way we've always done it, and we've got to stay in the way that we've always done it, but we've also got to learn to do it better in these limitations because it's not working. As simple as that. It's not working. Now, as I say, Nelchael or Saturn is ruling this chart, so we're looking at eradicating plague, which you can't deny the symbolism of that one at the moment. But what is interesting is, out of the chart itself, the most talkative angels are Sahalia and then Kahatel. Now, let me just check because I didn't write it down. Sahalia is ruling both Venus and Lilith, and Kahatel is, Kahetel, sorry, I should say, is ruling Pluto and Chiron, like I think Kahetel has been doing for a while. Now, the conversations that are going on here is Sahalia represents letting go and mental force. So it's eyes on the prize. That's where we're headed, and all this other stuff is not necessary. Whereas Cartel is all about diffusing negative energy. And as I say, those are the two most talkative angels in this chart, theoretically, all subservient to Nelchael in this chart. However, they are pretty much talking to all the planetary degrees, all the other angels at the moment. So it's almost like the king says one thing and the advisors are going, are you sure? Are you really, really sure? Do you not think there's a better way of doing it? What if you think about this way? What if you think about that way? But I think there's a better way of doing it. And they're going around the royal court and they are building up support, or they're acting like the chief whip of a political party, doing exactly the same, drumming up the support. Have I got your vote? So there's also this is directed, or the spotlight of this conversation is the moon, Hariel, long range vision and purification. That's the agenda that they are putting on the table in front of Nelchael or Saturn. And it's really interesting because the moon is quincunx, or I should say, as Rick Levine would say, quincunx Saturn. So Saturn doesn't really know what the moon's on about at all. You know, it's almost like, yeah, newfangled stuff, not my thing. Um, but it is necessary, and that's why we have the this influence of Sahalia with letting go, and then Kahatel just keeping everything calm, diffusing the negative energy. Yes, that's going to be awkward, but we can do it. And Sahalia, with their mental force, can go, hell yes, we can. Well, maybe not hell, they're an angel, but oh yes, we can do this. So there's, it's really highlighting an agenda shift. Now, the astrologers will also have mentioned it's good for relationships, this full moon. Again, go and watch all the astrology videos that I've posted. I'm seeing, looking at it from the degree angels level, this is, it's like that tagline, things will never be the same again. We are setting the agenda for the new world. We have a new world. I've not heard that phrase, the new normal, so much recently, but there's still a lot of political agenda to try and make the old normal return. But let's be honest, it's not going to happen. It is a new world. It's a new world every day. Oh, that, I'm sure that's a song. But it's a new world every day anyway, but it is very much a new world. And Saturn, in its square to Uranus, in its quincunx to the moon, is, I'm almost seeing, desperately trying to hold things together, which I think is quite, yeah, look at the news. Saturn is definitely trying to hold things together, and at some points it's succeeding, and at some points it's fading. But the counsel of the angels here is to try and just, let's make this process a bit easier. Now, what is interesting with Saturn as well is this, where have I written 8 degrees Aquarius? This is Spider-Man's Saturn. This is the Saturn on the first publication date when Spider-Man first hit the stands back in 1960 something, which I completely forget off the top of my head. But there is that message, with great power comes great responsibility. So Saturn is almost forced to accept that things have to change somewhere. And of course, Saturn is in Aquarius. It is looking more towards the future. It is looking to expand, to work with the community. Now, the symbols, after I'd figured all this out, I went and had a look at the various symbols for 8 degrees Virgo. And yeah, you'll have to forgive me. It's obvious I'm reading from the screen. So first we'll start with the inside degree, a man mixing cement. So we've got this image of, if you're mixing cement, you're building something, you're creating something. But the explanation of the image says jammed tight with concepts, thinking about what you are doing, interpretations, evaluations, opinions, and surmises, void of heart force, believing in progress, bent upon success. You strictly, rigidly carry out what the mind dictates. It goes a bit dark here. A form of ignorance that is very clever. Something missing in the soul. Compensations on top of compensations. Exceedingly busy, hyper with plans, projects, and enterprises. You're very good at achieving results. Riveted with to the phenomena, but prone to casting shadows that come back to haunt. So again, we see the reason for that influence of Cahatel, of the diffusing the negative energy, because everybody wants the world to return to normal really, really quickly. But that ain't going to happen, or at least the old normal ain't going to happen. But I love that, just that one image of the man mixing cement. This is the point where we start building. The new moon was, if I remember correctly, was all about finally integrating and starting to act on all the lessons that we've learned during the Capricorn cluster and 2020, which I think is very nearly ended. Well, or at least March 2020 has very nearly ended. Well, we may be in the 450th of March, but you know, we can see the turn of the page coming. Now, the Sabian symbol is equally as intriguing, and this one more encouraging. So the Sabian symbol is an expressionist painter at work. The interpretation saying about boldly breaking new ground. We must carve out our own path according to our own sense of who we are and what only we can do. Our right to be unique and our ability to express in this uniqueness creatively must be asserted. We must take it. It cannot be bestowed by a teacher. It is only the potential to be original that is a given in life. Originality itself must be assumed. Life is risky and we have to live with that. So again, there's that balance of, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, and the fact that things need to change. Uranus is going, oh yeah, change, change, bring change. But again, Uranus, that's its natural spirit. In Taurus, that change is not really as fast. Some astrologers say that Uranus in Taurus, it's almost like it's, yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's probably thinking about it wildly, but not going to do it. And then, bam, that's where the lightning strikes, because it just can't hold back anymore. Now, there is a thing called seed degrees and fulfillment degrees that I've learned from a blog, John Sandback, I think his name is. But for this full moon at 8 degrees Virgo, the where things come to a head for whatever is stated here or set into motion here. So stated as in a natal chart, or set into motion as in, you know, just the mundane transit chart. The fulfillment degree is 13 degrees Gemini. So I rather think that that is a point to be watching out for when other planets come to pass 13 degrees Gemini. The other interesting things that I noticed, Mercury, 13 degrees Aquarius. This is and of course I'm going to talk about comics and magic. This is the Mercury of Grant Morrison. Now, if you are familiar with Grant Morrison as a writer, superb writer, really likes to put layers upon layers upon layers of what it is that he's putting forward. You know, whether it's his signature series, The Invisibles, which went really deep into all sorts of woo-woo, or just his time on the Justice League of America, where it was like big concepts that would stick with you and you'd still be thinking about them several days later. Also, Israel Regadi of the Golden Dawn, this is his Chiron. So without diving into the details of Israel Regadi's life, there's that opening for disciplined magical healing is what I'm seeing from that, because that's how I'm assuming Chiron can be interpreted within Israel Regadi's chart, or at least taking it out of his chart and looking at it with the rest of the world. So these readings, they are same as ever, by sign. It's the gods that play reading. We look at the gods that are supporting you during this period, and we look at the more archontic forces, or the gods that aren't really gods. Their energies designed to suppress you and keep you away from your glorious destiny, soul function, soul purpose, yes, soul function, which will be on the top row of the reading. it is a look at the energies. You can ask a question like I'd normally ask you to within your monthlies, but I ain't going to guarantee that there will be an answer. And again, like any form of tarot scope, it's either it makes sense to you and or it doesn't. And if it doesn't make sense to you, then it's probably not for you. This is a YouTube reading. I am not sat with you face to face. So it's either going to confirm what you already know, stroke success, suspect, give or take the influence of confirmation bias, or it's not. And if it's not, then you can probably ignore it. Or maybe just think about it and then forget about it unless something occurs that makes you go, oh, yes, we know a song about that. So obviously, like, share, subscribe, join the Facebook page, because that way it's a one-stop shop for all the astrology videos as well as my videos. And like I say, you can contact me there. Subscribing to the channel really does help the channel. Liking helps the algorithm boost the video. I'm sure you know the YouTube politics by now, so if you're so inclined, please do help my YouTube politics, or Google politics, as Chris Witecki calls it. That's everything. I've waffled long enough. Let's crack on with the reading. Cheers. Okay, Libra, you'll notice as an extra card here, we have Kuan Yin turning up on the row of the gods that are trying to lift you up. So I drew a card from the Kuan Yin Oracle for you, which reflects very much the message that appears here. So the gods trying to work in your favour. We have Bellerophon with humility, Achilles with confidence, Aries with warmongering, Kuan Yin for compassion, and Pythia with knowledge. So even before I look at those, oh, let's get that camera into focus. Look at those, that normally works. Yeah, it's worked. Right. Even before I've looked at the masks the archons are wearing to keep you suppressed and down and miserable and all that. This is speaking to me that there is some form of conflict coming up, some form of confrontation coming up. Now, as I read the archons, my first thought was, do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Because we start with Artemis with purity, Zeus with leadership, Orpheus with music, Gaia with creation, and Pandora with curiosity. So the message that I'm getting from this is that there is some form of campaign. I suppose the best analogy I can think of, oh, come on, camera. The best analogy that I can think of, that's better, is along the lines of, say you have a relative who got absorbed into QAnon and or some other cult, and they have this purity of purpose and they are like, follow me, and they have been ensorcelled, as in the music of Orpheus, that it has completely transformed their entire worldview, and that they are wanting to delve deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And you are wanting to fight this. Because Bellerophon with humility is saying, hang on a minute, we can't know that. We don't know all the answers. I have confidence that we do not know all the answers. And I have confidence that I will challenge anything that is a load of nonsense. And the challenge comes here with Aries, with warmongering, but is immediately succeeded with Kuan Yin, with compassion. So you're going to war with someone that you care about because you care about them. I think that's a... I mean, it could be that I don't think you're the one that's being... You might be being tempted to come and join this cult, this way of thinking, this campaign. Yeah, I mean, bear in mind, it doesn't have to be a cult. It could be just a point of view that's going within the family, and the family's starting to split. But the other reason that draws me to this is we have the angel prince of the West. I create the reality around me with thoughts of pure love and goodness. And so there's a lot here all about point of view and how the point of view acts as a filter to your perceptions. Your perception define your reality, blah, 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 blah. If you're watching a tarot reading, you know all how that works. But there is a call for you to use your knowledge or seek knowledge to gain answers to help fight this battle, whatever it is. Now we have from the Daemon Tarot, Phorcus. Phorcus is a knight and president of hell with 29 military units under his command. He rides a pale horse and carries a lance, and demonographers say he has a long white beard. Should have looked that one up beforehand. Let's have a look what it says about Phorcus, because that nothing springs to mind from that. So focus on gaining eloquence and grace. That's interesting. So that matches that idea of humility and confidence altogether. Now, oh no, it's card 11. I am going to have to read for the Kuan Yin one because I don't know them off by heart yet. They appear rarely, as you can tell. But I think I may bring the tarot in first. We have Amael with fertility and multiplicity as the guardian angel. So that there is, I don't want to use the word profit, but that's the best thing I can think of. There is profit for you if you enter into this battle for truth and, more to the point, for humility. Because this is what the Enter the Jade Temple talks about. It's talking about on the spiritual path you will find conflict. Conflict is going to happen. Come what may, conflict will happen. But entering into Kuan Yin's Jade Temple, you are risen above that conflict, and you can look down upon it and see the dynamics of it without judgment. And this is why I'm thinking this compassion aspect. Someone has been led down a merry path, or you are getting offered to be led down a merry path. I don't think you should go down that merry path. But it's interesting that curiosity stands against you, but knowledge stands for you. But the only way you gain knowledge is by being curious about something and going and finding out. But if something feels wrong from the first taste, it's going to be wrong all the way through. That's the best way I can describe that one. Let's have a look what the tarot has to say to add to this, because it seems really cut and dried. So it's either you can get sucked into some form of weird belief that ain't entirely true and is, as I say, sacrificing the good for the sake of the perfect. Because when I have that purity in leadership, and this purity is something that you have always wanted. It's something that demands a commitment to you, and that the way you feel, or that this other person, if it's someone in your sphere of influence, is feeling, it feels like there is guidance being offered, that the world is changing, but the more curiosity that you have about this, the more the conflict is appearing. Now, you have a set of values. Yes, you have a set of values. That's interesting. Okay, final card. I will take that. There is a set of values that you already carry, which is fine, which is more than ample, more than suitable for the path that you're on at the moment. You don't need to be, whether it's... Now, for some reason, because I've heard, I don't entirely agree with this, but I've heard people say Drunvalo Melchizedek is a bit of a cult leader type person. Now, I don't know enough one way or another. I've read some of his stuff. I like it. I haven't joined any cult. You know, there's I don't know enough one way or another. But say we are doing our own esoteric research and we come upon Drunvalo's work and it's making some demands of us for us to carry that particular discipline further, but that's all hypothetical. But you already have values and disciplines that are already set. And to be honest, at the moment, I rather feel that the values and disciplines that you have in place at the moment are more than enough. For a lot of the other signs, this is all, oh, new beginning, oh, new beginning. But this is stand fast. Stand fast and be compassionate and go to war, but be compassionate. Love thine enemy. So you're fighting with words, you're fighting with facts, you're fighting with knowledge. You are not beating them over the head with a baseball bat, which makes life simpler, doesn't it? Now we have Bellerophon with the Knight of Chalices. Also indicates a Knight of Cups could be a love offer, but I also think it's someone presenting an idea. It's almost, with that being the gods row, but also the way I've started reading this, and I didn't intend to, but it's also seems to be representing you. It's like you have an offer of love to give, but that love isn't tied up with all this other nonsense, with this demanding purity and working towards gaining that purity, making a commitment to that purity, come what may. No, you are having confidence to tried and true moral guidelines and practices will lead you forward. Yes, it's going to lead you forward into some conflict. That's okay, because you will win that conflict by being compassionate. So let's have a look what Kuan Yin has to say. I'll just do like the first paragraph or so, but Kuan Yin in her Temple of Peaceful Jade causes all conflict to elevate to a higher peaceful resolution. A resolution and healing of any situation that is concerning you is already underway. In fact, you are being asked to begin to feel the relief of that resolution now, so that you can more readily receive the divine solution and blessing of peace from the beloved Kuan Yin when it arrives. So whatever this conflict is that is coming up, believe that it is already settled, because when all's said and done, you are in a story. It's your story, but you are in a story. And therefore, if the start of the chapter exists, it's quite possible that the end of the chapter exists as well, because it's already been written, mainly by you and God and the planets and all the other levels that go into creation and conscious creation and unconscious and subconscious and all of that business. But you are one of the writers' team. You know, it's always a bad time to have a reading like this during writer's strike. But, you know, there's not that I don't think there is one at the minute. But King of Wands with Kuan Yin and this enter the Jade Temple. By entering this conflict, you are able to bring facts and knowledge that help resolve this conflict and an understanding that although somebody may have been wrong, they weren't at fault. You know, it's understandable how they arrived there. So yeah, macro overview, they're wrong. But you can see how they got there and why they would think that way and why they would feel that way and why they would then take that ball and run with it. So that's really weird. I've not had a Gods at Play reading turn into that, because it looks like you get to be a tool of the gods here if you choose it. But remember, what was it said about focus? Focus on eloquence and grace, or elegance and grace, sorry. Well, good luck, Libra. If it means anything to you, comment down below as ever, and I'll see you at the monthlies. All right? Cheers.